welcome to Venturing Beyond 9 to 5 from Adventurize. I am Ritu, one of the co hosts of the podcast with Nimi. And in this series, we dive deeper into various freelancing stories, bring on board various experienced freelancers, especially in the marketing realm, and talk about their experiences, any advice, suggestions they might have, and just try to learn from their experience on the ins and outs of freelancing, basically. And before we dive straight into the session, for those of you who don't know, I just quickly want to introduce Adventurize. We are a community centered learning, development, and networking platform for freelancers. We started a community around 2.5, 3 months ago. And since then, we've had an amazing response in terms of the kinds of collaborations we could be doing and also the kinds of help we could provide to beginner freelancers. And of course, the podcast is part of this as well. And today we have with us Shreya Pattar, one of the most demanded guests for the podcast. So I'm really excited to chat with her and really learn about all about her freelancing journey, and especially the side of things that don't get highlighted quite often. So welcome, Shreya. It's really good to have you here.
Thanks, Ritu. Thank you so much, Nimi, also for having me. Looking forward to this.
Awesome. So you're in Dubai, right?
Yes,
How has that been like?
it's been good. It's getting pretty much warmer, as I think
Uh,
you can see. So,
yeah.
yeah, things are changing pretty quickly. But yeah, it's been good. Good so far.
So that's amazing. So, it's like it's kind of like the freelancing dream that a lot of people keep talking about, right? The flexibility in terms of the location and really being able to work from wherever, whenever. So that's kind of, your experience is sort of a testament to that it's possible if you really put work into it. And of course, there's ways you can figure out on how to do that as well. So, we'll have to talk about that a little bit later. But just for today's conversation, just to give you a context on how we've been doing it so far, right? We have brought on a bunch of guests talking about what their freelancing journeys have been like, what advice they could give to beginners, or what kinds of tips and tricks they could share, or how their day to day looks like, and things like that. And over the course of the first season, we kind of realized that we aren't really talking about some of the downsides of what a life of a freelancer could be like. There's always, the flashy and attractive side of freelancing that you see on social media, and as well as what you read about in general as well. And of course, corporate life has its own cons, so to speak, but so does every single profession in a way. So this conversation, I thought it would be nice to sort of focus on what are the kinds of things that aren't so great about freelancing, and what are the things you should be aware of before you even step into it, and have a realistic expectation on what could be done. So that's something I would want to talk about a little bit today. And so, just to start off, do you have any experiences or incidents on mind, something on top of your head that you thought, oh my God, this is too much, or maybe freelancing isn't the best profession to be in? Anything you can think of?
Yeah, I think it happens every other day based on, what's going on. Because you're conversing with so many people, something's working, something's not working. And it all
Yeah.
happens in the same day, right? Or this, like in the same day, something will be good, something will be bad. So it sort of like, equates itself out, I think.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's an everyday thing. I don't think anything's made me want to think that, okay, no, I don't want to do this at all. It's not that.
Hmm.
But yeah, in the sense that maybe, okay, I need to change something, or this is not, if I keep going this way, it's not going to work out, or okay, this is something that I need to step back from. This is not something I can do,
Hmm.
or this is not something I can do for now. I need a break from it. So that keeps happening in terms of
Hmm.
what conversations you have, especially at the month end when you look back and think of, okay, what did I do this month, and how has this been compared to the previous couple of months or so. I think the last week of the month is very reflective that way on how things have gone.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think it happens like every couple of days or so when it's like, okay, wait, okay, am I, is it going right? Is this okay? It shouldn't have been that way, but it's just a part of things, especially when you're talking to so many people every single day and
Hmm.
you're dealing with so many different things and you're working on so many different aspects of freelancing, especially when you are mostly working alone. Like, even though I have a
Right.
team, I take care of a lot of things just myself.
Hmm.
So yeah, that also has its own impact. So definitely there's a little bit of topsy-turvy things going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you mentioned, being working with people a lot, at the same time you're working alone a lot as well. And I
Yeah.
think one thing that happens with freelancing is that even if you're working with a lot of people, there's still not like a set of consistent people that you're working with, unless you expand into having a team. Initially you're just on your own, switching clients and like working with different kinds of people all the time. So does
Mm.
that, like, did that ever make you feel like, this is sort of getting lonely, or you're very isolated from the rest of the world, and that's did that ever take a toll on you? If so, how are you able to manage that?
Not really, because I like working by myself. Like, even
Mm,
in general, even before I was working, I like being by myself. Whatever I'm doing, just do it myself. Nobody should be talking to me, or nobody should be around if possible. Just like, be in your own zone. So that's always been my preference. So I
mm-hmm,
don't mind that. And I think this career choice has been very aligned with that idea where I've always wanted to be in control of as many things as possible and to do
mm-hmm,
it my way, myself. So yeah, it has like it's good that I also get to speak to people and meet people who are, across the world. But at the same time, I wouldn't think that, okay, even if I have a team, I wouldn't want to have an office or something because at this stage, like, I prefer working by myself. And if there's anything, you can always get on a Zoom call. I think that's fairly okay
right.
considering that's how I've been working from the beginning. So that's
Mm-hmm.
okay for me.
Makes sense. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
guess it also depends on the kind of work environment you prefer to be in as well. Right. A lot of people
Mm.
enjoy working. That's the kind of energy they feed off of. Sometimes, you kind of want to be alone and do things on
Yeah.
their own. So, it's, like, I guess a mix of both for me personally works well. So, yeah, that makes sense. So, do you have any particular examples or any particular incidents where you've dealt with any difficult clients, or any kind of a situation where, you probably didn't go in very well prepared, and then there were issues with clients later on? Has that something like that happened to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been over 3 years since I've been freelancing, and probably
Mm.
speak to like 50 people a month or so. And, that's something has to happen,
Mhm.
as I said, every single day there's something different. So I think a lot of things earlier used to revolve around payments, not getting paid on time,
Right.
which is why I talk about charging in advance. A lot of things were also about not sticking to a deadline. So, I have a deal which is like a monthly deal, and I say, okay, I'll write you 5 articles. But then the thing is, I wasn't very clear about the monthly part. So it becomes 5 articles over like a period of 4 months, but that's not the way it's supposed to be. So, all
Mhm.
these little things of how to better improve your terms and conditions. And it's not just about you, it's also better for the client because everyone's on the
Mhm.
same page as to what's supposed to be done, how it's supposed to be done. And then you have less resentment as well. In fact, you have
Mhm.
no resentment when you know, okay, that this is what it's expected to be. And everyone's also doing what's expected of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that has been the major thing in the early stages, especially just figuring out, okay, everything that didn't work out in every single deal, like of course, even the clients may be good, the work may be good, but there is some friction. Whatever point of friction there has been, I've always kept that in mind and used it for, enhancing the experience for the next person that I'm working with. So keep on
Right.
changing the terms and conditions as per that. Keep on changing my process of working as per that. Um, and I think step by step it becomes easier, although I don't think there's any point where I can say, oh, like, it's been perfect this entire month or so. Like it does not
Very
happen. It's
unlikely.
always
Yeah.
it's always up and down. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you go in with like a set contract? At what point do you always make sure that there's a contract in place before you start working with the client, or do you sometimes just go in and then figure the process on the way?
So the contract, yes, in terms of okay, what's involved, what's the terms and conditions. Some companies, um, are we okay?
Um, Give me a second. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like some companies prefer to have an NDA and a contract and everything signed as such. Some people are like, you send me a list over email, I'll say okay to everything, and we're good to go. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very adamant on that. So if it's a long-term contract, then yes, it's better to have a contract. It's best for both of us. If it's a one-off thing, I don't want to make it tedious for my client either. So I'm okay if you just give me an email confirmation. I'm fine
Mm-hmm.
with it. Maybe not the best way of working. Maybe this is something I'll change in the future, but for now it's okay. Like,
It's
for
worked
one of
out.
things, it's okay.
Got it. Yeah, that kind of reminded me of one of these incidents that someone in our community actually shared a few weeks ago about the client promising sort of like a retainer kind of an engagement where they had brought on the freelancer for next several months. And then it was just before, like a few days before the process was about to start, the client backed off and they were like, we kind of don't need you
Mm.
anymore. And they had a contract in place, although it was not like legally binding in any way. So it's just like a written piece of paper that doesn't really hold anyone liable as such, from the legal aspect of things. How would you deal with a situation like that, especially when the payment is also not made in advance?
See, I think anybody who does not charge in advance puts themselves in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing is it's different if you have already done the work and then the client backs off saying, okay, I will pay you. So let's say that person
Yeah.
already did like 3 weeks of work and the client says, no, I won't even pay you for 1 month that I had promised. That's a different thing. Then I would say the
Mm.
only option was to charge in advance. Because there's no other way. You want to take it to court and whatever, that's your choice. But again, it's still time, effort, money, energy that you put into that, and it's not an
Yeah.
easy option.
And you can't
It's
even
not like
compete
a
if it's a large
go-to option.
organization.
Yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
go-to option, right? So you don't want to get into that, so you charge in advance. But if it's the case that right before starting the client said, no, you know what, I need more time, unfortunately, you can't do anything. You give them time. You can't force them to pay you for work you've not done. You can't
Mm-hmm.
force them to, do something that they don't want to do. Like, it's just,
Right.
I don't think it's good work ethics. Like, you're in a store, like maybe this is a different sort of an example, but if you're in a store, you've spent like 3 hours looking at a nice, whatever, like you're looking at a piece of furniture. Just because you spend 3 hours does not mean that the salesperson has to expect that you will definitely buy it. He could have showed
Mm.
you everything. He could have showed you all the options, all the colors and everything. But unfortunately, that's the part of doing a sale, of making a sale. So same thing holds true here. Like the entire effort that you've put into, let's say, sales call, another sales call, sending a proposal, later it does feel like when the deal doesn't work out, it feels like, wait, I put so much effort, but that's a part of the process of getting a client. So you can't expect somebody to work with you just because you put in that much work initially. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't think there's anything you can do about it. I think it's even better that they were able to tell you earlier, because now you know that, okay, you have to find someone else. Because if they would have left you hanging halfway, then it would have been a much more different thing. Then, I think it would have been worse that way.
Right.
So,
Mm.
yeah.
And would you recommend charging in advance like every single time?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a percentage you go for?
I go for 100%, but if you are
Okay.
not comfortable, you can do like 50%. So I
Okay.
recommend about 30 to 50% for beginners, but then
Hmm.
you should eventually work towards 100% on a monthly basis or even on a 3-month basis. You can do that.
Got it. Okay. And I kind of remember this tweet that you had put out a few days ago, which was about, you don't have to go out there and teach other freelancers how to do freelancing
Mm,
when it comes to creating content as a freelancer. And that kind of, ties in with everyone wanting to have multiple sources of income once you get into freelancing, because first of all, it's so uncertain. Sometimes you might
mm,
have clients, sometimes you might not. So it's always better to find other ways by which you can make money, and people try to do that a lot. I remember seeing this meme once where like the different steps of freelancing. So the number one is you become a good freelancer, you start getting clients, make a sustainable income
mm.
out of it, and there's like five different steps that you climb through, and consultation calls sort of probably is like towards
Yeah.
the end of it, and people try to do that as the very first thing. As soon as they start
Mm,
freelancing, they try to teach others how to do freelance work in general. So that's kind of something that seems like a very obvious way to grow your source of income, but there's other things that you can do as well. And you have a bunch of ebooks going on and people keep talking about it all the time, so that's obviously one way. But what have your other ways been to sort of diversify your sources of income? And would you recommend anything to maybe like if it's writers or even some anyone generally in marketing kind of a realm, what could they go
yeah.
for?
So one option is affiliate marketing, where you don't have your product, but if let's say you like one of my books, then you can reach out to me. You can become an affiliate for my ebook. And then every
Mhm.
time somebody purchases my ebook through your link, you get commission. So I give a 50% commission.
Right.
So if my ebook is $50, you'll get $25 per
Mhm.
ebook sale that you helped me make. So one is affiliate marketing. It depends. Like if you are an affiliate marketer full time, you could make good income from it. But for me, it's a very small part of things.
Mhm.
There's affiliate marketing. There's also promotions and collaborations at this stage. When if
Mhm.
you have a large following on social media, you could get paid to promote something, to talk about
Right.
something, to
Mhm.
give a talk, to give a webinar, all of these kinds of things. So that side of where you collaborate with a company or a brand or an agency, that's also a source of income. Again, you need somebody to help you out with, or you need to, of course, put in time to find those brands, to pitch to them. All of that is, again, it's work.
Mhm.
Um, and you have, of course, your info products, you have your ebooks, you have your courses, you have your consultation calls. These can be done every couple of months. You can also do it with somebody. So if you are not willing to do it alone, if it's too much, then you can work with two or three more people and create a course together so that you're all also promoting it to each other. And let's say four people,
Mhm.
then you take like 25% commission each person and stuff. So that's also easier in the sense that you have a large audience that you can reach out to. And
Mhm.
I think there's also newsletters, right? Like you can keep
Mhm.
using newsletters to sell, but then again, you need something to sell, which again could be an info product, an affiliate product, or a course even, or it could be your service. So another way of diversifying your income is to add a service or to pick up a completely different service and just, whatever is profitable, whatever is something that you're able to take up and charge well for, and you're able to build, like, it's able to grow. It's not, you don't have like a cap on it. If you're able to do more of it, then that's also a service you can take up. And those are some ways that, you could use, like you can use all of these at the same time. You can decide to go all in on one or two as well. That's up to you,
Mhm.
what makes you prefer. For example, I don't do consultation calls anymore. I used to do them in between, but just based on the time, I don't do those anymore. I don't do much of affiliate marketing. Here and there, occasionally, I will tweet or
Mhm.
something. That's it. So yeah, you can decide which one's, good for you, which one's working for you. And yeah, you can always experiment, which is good with freelancing and being an independent
Mhm.
person, right? You can decide what you want to do, and if something's not working out for you, you can change it and do it differently. So you
Right.
have a couple, options there.
While you're saying that, there's so many options out there, right? But you still need a lot of discipline in a way and work ethic to actually keep up with a lot of things. Even something
Hmm.
as simple as social media have to be
Yeah.
consistent for so long to be able to get even a little bit of traction. And I feel like for a lot of people, even when you start freelancing, you start getting a few clients, you're making like a comfortable sort of income. It's even if it's not too much, you're like sort of doing well at that point when you're trying to venture into different kinds of things or wanting to experiment with new things. It's always like a process of starting from scratch, which is super
Hmm.
difficult, and also like keeping yourself motivated, especially when the monetary reason isn't like the very first thing in the top of your head, because you're obviously making money from freelancing. So it kind of becomes difficult that way to really keep yourself motivated and keep yourself pushing, even though that's the goal you have. But
Yeah.
again, there's nothing, no sort of urgency to do that. So has that happened to you ever, like, because you do so many different kinds of things, and I wonder sometimes how you even like manage to keep up with so many different kinds of, not just the projects that you're part of, but also just simply social media platforms, like the kind of work that goes
Mm.
into continuously tweeting and like staying active on Twitter versus Instagram versus making reels that are pain. Honestly, making like putting together smaller clips. How do you do that?
I don't know actually. It just happens, like
Mm-hmm.
a couple of hours here and there every single day. For Twitter, you can schedule a lot of things. For Reels, you can, make a lot of them together. For even for your like Instagram captions or your LinkedIn posts, you can write all of them together as well. So I have a mix. Like sometimes I'll prepare a bunch together, especially for Twitter. I prefer to do that because
Mm-hmm.
for Twitter, it's like if my mind is working in that, short form content method, then I'm like, okay, let's just, get everything out. So I'll have like, a month's worth of tweets ready.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
that's how it'll work. So it's different for each kind of content. But for Instagram, like captions, I usually go like on the go, whatever's coming up, whatever's something I'm thinking about, something people are asking me suddenly a lot about in the DMs or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there's no process as such. Like it keeps changing because I think that's also a part of just the creative process, right? That you have to do each thing in its own way. You
Mm-hmm.
can't put it in a box really and say that okay, this, this is the linear progression you have to take. This is like the step by step. There's no step by step when it comes to this. So anyone can teach you like okay, how to edit a video, how to improve your caption, space out your lines, add some emojis and use certain
Mm-hmm.
words and blah. That's one thing, but what to write it,
Yeah.
how to create it, when to post it. All of these things is just something you have to, I think, at least for me, I have to be in a certain headspace, I have to be in a certain flow, and then
Mm-hmm.
it happens. So, yeah, just take things as they come, I guess, just, see how that works out.
It's working out great for you so far. So I guess that's like a good process of not having any process, I guess. Do
Yeah.
you ever feel like tired of just keep going on social media, just posting content? Because you're active on like 3 platforms, and
Mm.
can imagine how much of a headspace that must take.
Not really. Now I don't really think about it. I used to be, like somebody who keeps checking a post, how it's doing and stuff, but now I
Mm-hmm.
don't because it doesn't really matter. The post is out.
Mm-hmm.
If 10,000 people like it, then it's okay. If
Mm-hmm.
1,000 people like it, it's okay. Like even if, you know, out of that 10 people will comment saying this was helpful, that's good enough. Of course, I keep a track of, what sort of content is working better, so I can hopefully recreate more of that. Like one of the
Mm-hmm.
posts I did this week about starting young, it did very well on Instagram. And it was something like a lot of people shared it. I got a lot of engagement on it. I got a lot of followers from it. So yeah, I do keep up with okay, what do people want more of? But I'm not like obsessed with how is it doing? Oh no, it's not
Mm-hmm.
doing well. Like I'm past it ever since my Instagram was stuck for a year. So I'm like, how much worse can it get?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm past that now, and I take a couple of days off from social media every month. Not
Mm-hmm.
together, but like maybe one Sunday off, maybe another Thursday off. Whenever I'm busy, whenever I'm out, maybe when I don't want to really, use social media, I'm fine with that. So
Mm-hmm.
just whatever fits, like, whatever fits my routine, and I feel like, okay, today is not about the phone, today is not about using that, it's okay, then I won't post anything. But I'm usually
Mm-hmm.
very up to date with DMs, like I do check because a lot of people message, so I like
Yeah.
talking to people. So that's
Yeah.
nice.
That's good. And I was honestly very impressed at how quickly you're responding to all of my messages, because that doesn't happen a lot. Every time we have a guest on board, we have to keep following up and keep asking for things. And I remember telling Nemi how like it was amazing that I didn't have to do all the back and forth with you. We decided the date
Yeah.
and everything in just like quick 3 messages and it was all done.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that was honestly like really a good experience scheduling everything with you from start also. So really get about that. And one thing I wanted to ask you was about the whole feedback loop. And I've tried having this conversation with a few freelancers before. And I think one of the biggest struggles, especially with something like writing, is that, you have to keep practicing to improve the skill set,
Hmm.
obviously. And when you're working with client projects, those are like certain kinds of projects. But in order to just improve your core skill set,
Yeah.
you need some kind of feedback loop and process where like you're getting like a third person perspective on what you could improve, what's not working well maybe. And that kind of becomes easier when you are in a job setting and you have a manager or someone to tell you and give you feedback on things. That doesn't really happen with freelancing. So how do you go about the whole feedback thing and just constantly improving yourself?
I have a lot I think my entire family reads all of my content. So a lot of my
Mhm.
feedback loop happens through that. If something, like if I have a typo, I'll have a text within like 5 minutes of putting up the post. Somebody will say, oh, there's a typo there, I don't care for typos, by the way. It doesn't matter.
Mm,
It's okay. Typos are human. That's fine. I'm not saying it's important. But yeah, like in that sense, I do end up getting a little bit of feedback.
mm,
Otherwise, just by the fact that I've been writing since I was really young, I've always had feedback from my teachers or from people that I've written for. I did a couple of internships, so I had some feedback there. The
mhm,
only thing is that even in internships, you get feedback, but you don't know if you get the best feedback.
mm,
There's no correct or wrong feedback as such, but also the thing about something like writing is it's very subjective. Although, yes, there's a particular way of writing that if you write it this
Right.
way, yes, everyone will be like, okay, yeah, this is a good piece of content.
Mm-hmm.
But like you might show the same piece and to three different clients, and they'll each have different feedback based on what they want or what they think is missing or what they
Yeah.
think you should have done better or what they think they liked. They'll all have different things. So I would say getting feedback from external places doesn't really matter. What will matter
Mm-hmm.
is, does your client like it?
Okay.
You don't have, that's again why I say you don't have to be the best writer in the world. I don't think I'm the best writer in the world, but the
Mm-hmm.
people, I write for like my content, which is why I'm working with them, which is why they're happy working with me, which is why whatever's working out overall is working out because the
Mm-hmm.
people I work with, they like my work. That's what matters.
Right.
Um, so yeah, find people like whoever's working with you, take their feedback, use that to make sure that it's something that they like, that piece of content is something that they like. That's one thing. And second thing is just based on results. Like if you think your content should have had more engagement for your clients or more link clicks or more comments, whatever it may be, like you should also keep up, like, just keep a check on um, all these things that matter, all these metrics
Mm-hmm.
that matter, even if they're not something that's part of the deal as such, but
Mm-hmm.
you can still have keep a check and think, okay, what should I have done better? Or if somebody left reading halfway, which is, I think you on websites you can check at until what stage they read it and stuff like that, how much
Yeah.
time somebody spent on it, what was the click rate based on two different headlines and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something you improve upon based on the metrics you see, like the numbers you see online. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's your more personal side of things where you improve because you have to do a better job and you can do a better job.
Right.
But externally, I don't think it'll help much because everyone has a different idea of things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If you had to like tell me the best part about freelancing and also the worst part about freelancing, what would those be?
Mm. This has to be the same thing?
Of course not. No, no. Like,
No,
what's the
no.
best
Okay.
and the worst?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Although it'd be interesting
Um,
if you could give me just one answer for both. I wonder what that would be.
yeah. Okay. So like the best and like, I think maybe this whole location freedom thing is the best and the worst part in itself because
Mm-hmm.
you can work from anywhere, but it's different. Like, I see a lot of people working from like cafes and stuff. I was out in the day and I had my laptop with me, but I couldn't really get myself to sit there and work because I'm just like, I'm outside. I don't want to work here. But then when
Yeah.
I'm in my room, I'm like, maybe, I should go outside and sit somewhere in a public setting. So I think that becomes a bit of a different thing. Like, you
Yeah.
you have control over where you want to work from, but also maybe you would always prefer, or in my case, I always prefer like, oh, I wish I was home wearing, comfortable clothes and having like I have
Your
my
space.
snacks and I am more prepared and I can make as many notes as I want and keep them all around, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And also this whole thing of being your own boss, right? That's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because it's a good thing you are accountable, you are more disciplined, you're responsible, you know that it's only you can't really blame someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there are certain days when you don't have that discipline because you just don't want to,
Yeah.
and you realize, like, also realizing that your clients are also your boss. So all these different clients, if you have 5 clients, each client is your boss basically.
Right.
So just coming to terms with, wait, I have freedom, but oh, I have to follow this deadline and get these clients these
Mm-hmm.
results. I think that becomes like a combination of like a bittersweet thing. So it's
Right.
best of
Yeah.
both worlds, kind of. Yeah.
And how do you keep yourself motivated then? Is it just the deadlines?
Yeah, I mean, not really. Look, if I don't really want to work, I'll probably take a couple of hours off. I've had days when I do the reverse. I'll wake up and I'll do whatever stuff has to be done, do a little bit of work, but then I'll probably watch something for the rest of the day or read something for the rest of the day or go out and then come back and then at night I will work and then, stay up
Mm-hmm.
late and work. So I think there's a bit of flexibility there.
Yeah.
But also that would be a rare case. It's not a preferred way of working, of course. Um, you would have to, like, in my case, I end up treating it like a job at this stage because If I'm not working the usual 9 to 5, then what am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
I have to do it. If I had a job, if I had to go to work somewhere, then I wouldn't have had the option that, I don't feel like it today. Or when I was
Mm.
going to school or when I had internships, like I never wanted to wake up at like 6:30 in the morning, but I had to. And I did
Yeah.
it because, well, you don't have a choice. So
Yeah.
you wake up at 6:30, you go in this crowded train, you probably leave a couple of trains because it's so maddening and people are shouting and stuff, but you can't do anything. You have to do what you have to do.
Mm.
So yeah, I think that's a good outlook to have, that, it's stuff you've got to do, and if you don't, then no one's going to do it for you. So you don't
Yeah.
have a choice really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. At this point, I just wanted to tell it to everyone in the chat that if you have any questions, feel free to send them in the chat and then I'll get them answered. In the meanwhile, there's a couple of questions we got from our community members when we put out the post to ask you anything. And these are more oriented towards, working with clients and stuff. So one of them
Mhm.
says, as a beginner, is guest posting the best way to get bylines?
Yeah, you can do that. Guest posting is a good idea. I prefer something like social media. Of course, guest posting you can do. You'll probably get a couple every month based on your pitch and everything. But also don't forget social media. It's a great way to have your byline. Basically, anything you're posting has your name under it. Make sure it's
Mm.
original content, of course. Make sure you're not copy pasting content.
Yeah.
Um, but anything that you publish as a LinkedIn article, it has your byline. Something you publish on Medium has your name on it. Something you
Mhm.
publish as a LinkedIn post, as an Instagram post, all of these work as bylines. Of course, based on the kind of content you're creating as well. If you create social media content or articles and blog posts, this will work. And this is something I've used, by the way. Like when I was just starting out, I didn't have a portfolio, no client results to show. This is what I did. I just sent some of my best performing LinkedIn posts to my client, to my prospects. I told them, look, this is my writing style. This is how I write. Here are a couple of
Mm.
articles that I've written on LinkedIn. Have a look. If you think these are good, then we can talk about it. And maybe I can also write you a paid sample, which is more aligned with what niche you need the content in. But this is
Mhm.
what I have right now. And that's completely fine because they see your work, they see your engagement, they're happy with it. So, social media, because if you're not getting a lot of yeses for, your guest posting, then social media still, it's something that you can self-publish. So that's a good way.
Yeah, social media can be a portfolio in itself. So,
Yeah.
another question is, how do you decide rates while pitching as a newbie?
So for newbies, I have this flat thing, $15 per hour should be your minimum. I'll
Mm.
assume, while saying this, I'll assume you're good at what you do because you're a newbie. I don't know what sort of content you create or how good you are at what you do. We all talk about fair pay, but there's also fair work because I've worked with a lot of newbies. And although I say, charge minimum 1 rupee per word, unfortunate, I ended up paying that because that's what I promised them, but they weren't worth that much because their quality wasn't even close
Mm.
to that. So if you're good at what you do and if you're able to give a good client experience, I would say $15 per hour is a good
Mm.
rate to charge.
Got it. And how do you go about assessing the quality of work? Because, writing is subjective in a way, and of course, everyone has their
Look,
own way of doing it.
bad
Mm.
writing is not subjective. Like when I say that
Okay.
somebody is not worth rupee one per word, I mean there's terrible grammar, there's
Okay.
no sync in thoughts, there's no understanding of the topic, there's a lot of repetition, there's a lot of,
Mm.
explaining you're using one big word and then the next couple of lines are just explaining the same thing over and over again in
Mm.
sentences. So all these things, it shows that you have not worked on just writing in itself, what writing is. You've not worked on that, and it's something that I have to rewrite. I just cannot use, absolutely cannot use even like one line
Mm.
from it. That's bad content, and that's not subjective. That's just bad
Makes
content.
sense.
That's it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
another question that says, are there any tips on making good cold pitches?
I think personalization is the most important tip there is because I get so many messages, and I know that these people have just, changed one or two words and said, "Hi Shreya Pattar." Hi Shreya Pattar, first of all. Like, my name is Shreya. You don't need to copy paste my handle name Shreya Pattar or something. So that's a simple thing. Personalization. You make sure the name's correct. Um, you make sure you know what you're, messaging or who you're messaging. Again, I get a lot of people who say that I saw your course, and I'm like, I don't even have a course. What course are you talking about? So they have not even, done their homework on me. And I know instantly that, okay, this is not somebody, this is not somebody that knows anything about me and actually cannot help me. So personalization is key. Just make sure it's not about writing an essay, but just one or two lines saying why you're reaching out to that person, what you like about them, how you found them maybe, or what made you, write to them, how you think you can help them based on what they do. Just
Mm,
personalize your message so that they realize it's not just a copy paste template you're sending to everyone, but it's something that you've put in some time, even if like 2 minutes or 5 minutes, you've put in some time to understand
right.
what they do, and you message them because you can actually help them, not because
Mm,
you're just bulk messaging people. So yeah,
yeah,
that would be the tip. Personalize it. Just
for
stand
sure.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, one more thing I wanted to add to that, and I don't know why we have to even mention that, but we have been putting out a lot of job posts for the clients that want to hire from our community, and a lot of times I get emails with a subject line that says work samples, and then it's hi,
Mm,
here are my work samples, and like 15 documents attached, and I'm
yes.
like, I don't know which job you have applied for, I don't even know your name, I don't know what is it that you are looking for, how am I supposed
Hmm.
to help you here, right? So something as basic
Yeah.
as that is also that's missed a lot of time, surprisingly. So that's another thing. Another question we have is Parul says, I am new in freelancing field. I am figuring out to pitch international clients. Can you give any advice and some good tips to get foreign clients?
See, you want foreign clients, the basic thing is you pitch to people who are based abroad. Like, there's no other way. There's no other secret sauce or anything. Just maybe don't engage with people who are in a certain country if you don't want to work with them. Just don't engage with them at all. Don't connect with them on LinkedIn. Don't follow them on Instagram. Don't follow them on Twitter. Don't comment on their tweets. Like, just stay away from that region, if that makes sense, because your page can pick up that, your algorithm can pick up that location and stuff. But, if you're new in freelancing, I would say do outreach. And when you want to do outreach, you find, let's say, just go on LinkedIn, see
Mm,
if you are looking for digital marketing agencies that you want to work with, or you're looking for doctors. Maybe you want to create, let's say, web copy for doctors. More specifically, maybe, dentists in a
mm,
certain area. Then LinkedIn has a lot of search features where you can narrow it all down, enter all the information, and then you get a list of people who are based there, who are dentists, who are making maybe a certain revenue, who are, whatever. So that's a good way, use something like LinkedIn to find people, shortlist people who are in a specific location that you prefer. If you don't do that, if you're just aimlessly messaging everybody, or if you're open to working with anybody and everybody, then you're going to miss out on the people that you really want to work with. So there's a
mm,
fine line between, saying yes to something because, well, you want to learn something and you want to try it out, versus making space and keeping space for something that actually fits and aligns with what you are looking for and who you want to work with. So
mm.
I would say reach out to people who are based abroad. That's the thing you need to do.
Got it. Gauri says, which platforms are best to approach high ticket clients?
Platform doesn't matter, it's the people should have money. It's just that if people are rich, then they can afford to pay you what you are asking for. So which platforms are best? It could be anything. It could be LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Quora. I know people who have used Quora as well. So there's
Mm,
no like perfect platform. You can find people on any platform. If the person has money, they can pay you for your services. And if, of course, if the person has money and finds value in your services, then they can pay you. If they don't have money, or if they're a new startup, they're still raising funds, or they just raised funds but they cannot allot it to, let's say, marketing side of things, then unfortunately they won't be able to pay you. Or if they can, they won't be able to pay you long term. So
mm.
yeah, people with money, that's what you need.
Got it. And Yogesh had asked, is it possible to hit 3,000 plus dollars with working around 40 hours or 40-hour weeks, basically?
It is possible. It's not easy, first. And second, it's not going to happen instantly. Anybody who says that has probably been working for many, many years. That makes a difference. So
Mm.
you could do that. Like $3,000 a month is achievable. $3,000 even for per project is achievable, yes. But don't start off expecting that, I'll be able to do it in 40 hours right from the get-go. Maybe you can, but for most people it takes time. So don't be disheartened. Give it a couple of months, maybe a year, and you will see it happen. That's it.
Okay. And besides your personal brand reputation, what can be some of the ways to charge much higher than the competition and escape the 20, 40, 60 PPW rat race? In other words, what
Hmm.
are the key elements of an article or a blog that attract a ton of traffic and generate results for your clients for sure?
I don't know. Look, that's your skill set. If you are doing article writing, you have to know how to get your client results. That's your homework. I don't do article writing. That's not my service. So I don't have any idea about that. So how do you get results? I don't know. But that results part, I'm glad you covered it up because that's what you need to do if you want to charge a certain amount. How do you get out of the rat race? It's not about your personal brand. It's about the results you can deliver to your clients. So if you're
Mm,
able to, let's say, if they're, it also depends, sometimes they're not really looking much for numbers, but they're more focused on, I want a writer who can write the best piece of work that I don't have to sit and edit like three times, or have so many feedback rounds or something that I have to explain over and over again. So many of my clients are happy just to get work that they don't have to, relook at. They're okay with it. They
mm,
can take it and they can publish it. They're saving time. So it doesn't necessarily have to be numbers, but whatever
mm,
they are looking for, if you're able to bring them those results, you build case studies based on those results. And then
mm,
that's how you get your next few clients. So
mm,
yeah, whatever the results are, like, whatever your service can bring for the client, make sure you put all of those together as a case study. You can make a presentation or like a PDF or something, and you
mm,
can use that when you're pitching to people or when you're sending proposals as well.
mm. Got it. And Shaunak says, do you recommend changing your LinkedIn location to US if you want clients from the US? He's in Mumbai right now. But basically, when clients search for a particular person or a keyword, the location is what would pop up. So based on
Mhm.
that, would it matter for the freelancer to change their location on LinkedIn?
It will matter in terms of, yes, like if you change your location, the algorithm will pick that up and more people from that location will end up messaging you. But I don't use that because it creates a friction, like it creates a issue with trust. So even sometimes when I speak to a prospect and they have some location written, but they are based somewhere else, I'm like, why would you do that? Because, sharing a
Mm,
fake location is a big thing. Sharing a fake name is a big thing. Why would you do that? So for me, I become a bit, I usually don't end up working with people because I'm like, okay, why did they have to
mm,
lie about something so small? So I don't recommend it. I don't recommend changing your location because of that, because once you get on a call and they realize, wait, you're not based in the US, it could, maybe not, maybe you can try it out, but I wouldn't do that and I don't recommend people to do that.
okay. And Kushagra says, any tips on creating irresistible packages for retainer deals, especially for content or copywriters?
So, if you're doing the kind of copywriting that helps make money, which is like, let's say, sales page copy or, sales page copy, web copy, ad copy, something like that, then of course your metrics would matter. How many sales you're getting, how many conversions you're getting, how much you're increasing it by. So, if you want to create irresistible packages, first is you definitely need more um, results. So I would say work with somebody and maybe do it on a commission basis. So let's say they're making $1,000 from their ebook right now or from their course right
Mm,
now. But you said that, okay, you know what, I'll write you a new sales page. I think you'll end up hitting like $3,000 worth of
mm,
income with this new sales page. So whatever you make above $1,000, so let's say you do end up making 3,000, so you give me a percent, let's say, 30% share of that difference. So $2,000 that extra you've made, give me 30% of that. That's how you get
mm,
paid. So you can do that initially. So there's not much at risk for the person who's investing in you because you're getting paid on a commission basis. If they say no, because if maybe they have more faith in you, they'll be like, no, no, I need to pay you a flat fee. I can't do a commission share because in case they hit like 10K sales or something,
Mm.
maybe they want to keep it to themselves. So
Yeah.
whatever, you can then you can charge on a retainer basis, but the numbers will matter. So first create case studies using something like this, and then use those case studies to share, okay, how much sales did you increase, how much revenue did you increase. Mainly for copywriting, the revenue will matter a lot, or the number of followers, like how much did that go up since you started ghost writing content for somebody, how many more inbound leads did they end up getting because of the content creation you did, how many more queries did their website get because of the blog post you wrote, all these things. So just keep a track on all these things and use that to create your irresistible offer.
Got it. That's a great answer. We have a question from Gauri that says, any LinkedIn optimization tips to attract inbound leads?
Well, there's a lot, first of all, which is why I have an entire ebook about it. It's called Cashing In on LinkedIn. So I would say go and get that ebook, because the entire ebook is just about this, how to get leads and how to, build a brand that gets you followers and leads. Some tips would be to create content regularly and create content that's aligned with the pain points of your target customers. Like we discussed just, a couple minutes back, that is, you should not end up teaching freelancing. Freelancers could be a potential client, but here I'm assuming they are not. I'm assuming you're looking for somebody who's not a freelancer. So don't teach, how can you optimize LinkedIn to get freelance clients? No, don't do that. Do something that's going to be of benefit to your target audience so that they see, okay, wait, Gauri has posted about this pain point, and this is exactly what I'm going through. And she says she can help with this. So, you know what? Let me just text her and see how she can help. So that's how you do it. You create content, that's important. And also, second thing is engaging with other people so that more and more people, you just pop up more on people's feeds, and more people know you, and you're right there, right? And
Mhm.
apart from that, you have to also fix your profile, because let's say I do like your post and I look at your profile because I want to learn more about you before I message you. But your profile is either it's half filled, or you don't have a profile picture, or you don't have any work to show, or uh, you don't have any recommendations or testimonials or something, then it's a bit, then I may be like, okay, let me come back to this. It's not impressive. So what you want to do is also you want to have a profile that's complete. You want to have your own face on the profile, like don't put any random picture. Use, put your picture, you can smile. And yeah, and make sure your headline is very clear as to what you do. So you could have written something about digital marketing, but you're actually a copywriter. So, that difference will become difficult to grasp for somebody if you don't have a clear headline and a value statement. So make your headline very clear so that people know, okay, this is what this person does, and this is why I can approach you. Like, this is why, this is what you can help me with. So your content creation, your engagement, and your profile, all these three things have to work together.
Awesome. Yeah. Just really quickly, Nimi has shared a feedback form in the chat. So we would love for everyone to take like 30 seconds of your time to let us know what you thought about the podcast session today and what is it that we could improve later on. We would love your ideas on how is it that we could benefit you all better. And one last thing, question, Shreya, before we wrap up would be if you had to give one last piece of advice, whatever it is, for anyone trying to start freelancing, what would it be?
I would say don't overcomplicate it, because
Mm-hmm.
this is a tweet that I put, I think, yesterday. That, there's so many people at this point teaching freelancing, and everyone has a different idea of how to go about it. Some people will say
Yeah.
cold emailing. I am more focused on content creation and inbound, which is not a foolproof method, but people who follow me, they are able to make it work for them. So I focus more on that. Some people will say don't charge in advance. I will say charge in advance. So
Mm.
everyone has a different method of how to work with somebody, how to charge, what is, worth your value, what isn't, what is fair pay, what isn't, um, what is, whatever, everything. Every person's going to have something different to say. So when you're starting out, I would say pick like one person. Decide that, okay, what this person says, this is what I'm going to listen to, and I'm going to do it this way. And do it for a couple of months, right? Just do only that. And this I realized, by the way, because of the fitness training. So every fitness trainer will say something else about, how what is the best way,
Mm,
what to eat, what not to eat, how to get your protein, how to do a particular workout. And then I think at one point I realized, wait, I can't listen to everybody, because first of all, everyone's saying different things. They're not wrong. It's not wrong. It's just that they're
yeah,
saying different things, and I cannot incorporate everything at this one time. So now
yeah,
at this stage, I'm like, okay, I have this one person. I'm going to only follow what he says for everything fitness. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to listen to anybody else. It's okay. They're right, wrong, doesn't matter.
mm,
Don't listen to them. So when you have that more focused outlook, I think it's better. Just it's been better for me. So I think the same thing can apply to freelancing as well, where
yeah,
when you're starting out, just don't overwhelm yourself by, like, oh, who's right, who's wrong. Nobody's right or wrong. Everyone's different. So just,
yeah,
pick whoever you think, okay, this person's like somebody I would like to, follow for a bit and see how it goes. Try for 3, 6 months, then decide. Just don't
yeah.
overwhelm yourself. Yeah.
No, that absolutely makes a lot of sense because, if you Google one single topic, there's going to be 10 different YouTubers trying to tell you 10 different things.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
of course, like, Reels will keep popping up, and then, the algorithm will know that's what you're looking for, and then like shove more of that
Yeah.
into your face. And there's just going to be a ton of information. You won't know what to do with it. And I guess,
Hmm.
consumption of information feels like, oh, you're kind of on the right path because you're doing your research or whatever. But unless you
Hmm.
implement that, which is the most difficult part anyway, it's not going to go anywhere. So, I guess less
Yeah.
of consumption and more of doing is what will
Yeah.
probably work out well as well. But
Yeah.
anyway, thank you so much for taking your time, Shreya. This is really insightful, and looking forward to staying in touch and maybe doing some more sessions in the future. But thanks for taking time.
Thank you so much, Ritu, and thank you, Nimi, as well. Yeah, it was great. And, thanks to everyone who joined in on a Monday evening. And hope you found this helpful. Thank you.
Thanks so much.